Welcome in, One Nation, to another episode of the Hive podcast. TJ Winger, joined by Sam Llaneza this week. Sam, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, of course.
So, Sam, you've been a standout athlete all year long, but, the most recent accolade, so to speak, you were named, College Division Male Indoor Athlete of the Year. We can start with that. What does that accolade mean to you, and how does it feel to have, I know a lot of work you put in to see that paid off with, an award like that?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really expecting to get that. I kind of showed up one day on my feed and I was like, oh, this is awesome. But yeah, I mean, the work is definitely paying off. You can see it with everyone doing well. You see Tor destroyed the school record the other day, and that's my training partner. I train with him every day, so it's obviously something's clicking.
Yeah, and then that goes with, Coach Sprecher being named Indoor Coach of the Year for the men's and women's side, 8 all-state, accolades for VASID for the men, 13 for the women. I mean, it's a bunch of team success. And, talked about that. You trained with Tor, and to see these accolades, this is a really special team. And, I mean, I'm, obviously my first year here, and one of the first things I was told was this track and field team is on a dominant, historic stretch. And I was like, all right, well, I'm ready to see it.
Yeah.
And you guys have not failed in any ways there. So talk to me about what it is, what is working for y'all. What is it about Lynchburg track and field that makes y'all such a dominant team, not only in the ODAC, the region, but y'all are a national powerhouse at this point.
Yeah, honestly, I think our coach Jake Reed and Coach Sprecher have done a great job just building a culture. I think culture goes a long way, as well as the workouts and stuff like that. But I think culture stays above all. Having a dedicated team, having a dedicated program, just doing the right things goes a long way.
Yeah, and I will say, y'all are always supporting one another. Not only, y'all support a ton of other sports around here, too. Y'all are just everywhere. And there's a lot of y'all, which is awesome to see. But, whether it's, the jump start off the day, at Dennis Craddock Saturday, whatever, that's just an example. I'm seeing runners out there, cheering on the guys for the high jump and the girls for the long jump. So that type of atmosphere and that culture, again, kind of goes back to what you were talking about. So I wanted to also ask you and kind of pick your brain of, what goes through your mind as a runner, as you're training, or maybe even in a race, because I run every day. But that said, I'm listening to something and trying to take my mind off of the running because it's not necessarily my thing, if you will. But I'd love to know, what are you focusing on? Is it a technique thing, or is it like, hey, is my pace what I'm focusing on, or is it something where you don't want to be thinking about what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the day. Obviously, during workouts, got to be locked in, got to hit paces, stuff like that. But on just our easy days, I just want to be hanging out with the guys, just talking, going on easy runs. I think that's something that we take a lot of pride on. We don't really look at our watches when we're running easy. We just kind of run easy and enjoy time together. And because running can't always be fun, so just having time with your friends and just going out, hitting the trails, I think that's a lot of fun. We take a lot of pride in just having a good time together.
Yeah, for sure. And then that even kind of exuberates when you guys get to host these events.
Yeah.
Right? We've already had the Dr. Jack M. Tom's Invitational. We're coming off the Dennis Craddock Coaches Classic. Just start with that. The ability to host these events and running on your home track. Yeah. How big of an advantage is that for you? But also, how cool is it to be able to be in that atmosphere in your backyard, if you will?
Yeah. I love having our home meets. Walk out the door and you're there, and it's awesome. We're truly blessed to have 2 or 3 meets every year that is at home. We get to control everything, basically. The races are set up nice for us. Like, I was there to pace Tor in the 800. He was there to pace me in the mile. We can't set those things up when we're not at home, and we're able to do that. And the environment it brings, we have all our students for that mile. That was awesome. Everywhere I was going, it just was loud screaming. I mean, you can't really get that anywhere else other than maybe the national level. And our meets are just hype, and there's nothing more to it. It's awesome.
Right, and I mean, playing off of that, and I want to talk to you about the mile. That's where I'm going with this. Is you look at, I have Brennan Straits up in the press box queuing up songs because he knows it'll hype y'all up and get it going. That atmosphere on Friday night at the Dennis Craddock Coaches Class. I mean, talking about Lynchburg as a whole, we had a Code Red meet for swim, and I have never seen an auditorium packed to that degree and get that loud for a swim meet. And it was something similar this past Friday, and it was awesome. As you're in a neck-and-neck battle, you end up running a 4:06 mile. Tell me, as you're making every turn and people are just going bonkers, how much is that fueling you to get, as best a time as possible? And just the ability to have that type of, crowd on hand for track and field, which, as sad as it is to say, not always a sport that has that type of atmosphere with it.
No, 100%. Yeah, track is not really known to have a super hype atmosphere, but I was talking to people that were there, and they're like, I've never been so excited to see people go run in circles before.
Exactly, though.
And it helps with our commentator, Cutright. He does a great job up there just getting everyone really hype. and just the atmosphere, man, it's awesome. And I don't even know how to explain it. People who don't even watch running enjoyed that, and that's the big thing. And it got me to run as fast as I can. I had to show out. I couldn't not just. I couldn't like. I don't know how to explain
Disappoint,
it.
yeah,
Disappoint,
sure,
yeah. I had to do it just for everyone there. You know, I gotta make it fun.
Yeah, I mean, the energy was infectious. I mean, men's lacrosse is tweeting about it. I mean, men's lacrosse atmospheres are crazy. So if it's standing out to them, you know you're doing something right.
Yeah, 100%.
You're right. Dan Radcliffe, he's doing the PA, and then Brennan Straits, Sam Graham, and I'm going to be doing more with ODACs. Just that ability as a broadcast perspective, build off that energy is really exciting and fun too. But that leads us into the next point I wanted to ask you about. ODACs are right around the corner, so. The transition from indoor to outdoor is unbelievably quick. I blink my eyes and y'all are down in Myrtle Beach ready to go after winning the indoor titles. So what is that transition like? And you've already won the indoor titles. What is it? And what's the focus to try to go, I don't want to call it repeat, but essentially, validate that title just in an outdoor setting. What's the focus? And first start with, what's that transition like? I feel like it's got to be a little different for each and every person, but for you, moving from indoor to outdoor, what's that like?
Yeah, our goal is always for outdoor track. So indoor track is just kind of something to get us ready for outdoor. But obviously, we're looking forward to win. We want to win every distance event. That's our goal as a distance team. And I'm sure our sprinters will help us out a lot as well. Alex in the 100, Alex in the 200, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, our goal is always to win. And moving forward, I think there's a lot of us that are getting prepared for nationals, which is like a month later after ODAC. So it's kind of hard to peak for both. So I think we're gonna shoot for nationals because ODACs we can maybe get away with it and just kind of pull out some wins there. But yeah, I mean it's super exciting. ODACs at home again, which is always hype. It's pretty smooth transition though. It's pretty similar training though.
And a ton of credit again goes back to Coach Breck and Coach Reed. Like y'all will. What's amazing, and this is the same thing that happened with the outdoor season, even cross country. If you go back that far, it's like you get to ODACs, and then at that point, that's y'all's peak performance. But then y'all find a way to hit another gear once we hit to regions, and then you get to nationals, like cross country out in Louisville. Like a lot of PRs run that day.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. Y'all have that ability to kind of go one rung at a time and get better and better. So a ton of credit to the coaches, and then also the work that y'all are doing because. Yeah. I'm not hitting any PRs at this point in my life. I'm steady 6:30, 7-minute mile. Like I'm not trying to do anything crazy. So y'all find a way to kind of bump it up each and every rung. So to answer your question kind of for you, ODACs is going to be the best, but I know nationals is really where you guys are striving for. And talking about that in the distance team you mentioned, I mean, this is as good a distance squad as there really has to be. I mean, Max Sparks, that's an All-American caliber runner. Frank Sorba, yourself, and then you can even put it down shorter. Call the 800 a distance. With Tor. I mean, like you said, sub 2-minute time. With Dennis Craddock, unbelievable. So. 800 onward. Let's talk about those runners. I mean, who are you? You mentioned you trained with Tor. So talk to me about that group and kind of give me a peek behind the curtains what it's like to work with those guys day in and day out. Yeah,
we all have our different strengths and weaknesses. Tor's got unreal speed, and then you have Frank, who's just an aerobic beast. He will drop me in a second if we're doing something long. And then same with Tor. If we're doing some speed work, I'm hanging on for dear life. It really pushes you every day, and I think we all know our strengths and weaknesses, and we can work on that. And those four, I guess, including me, that's like our group, and we always do work together, and we've came a long way. I guess 4 All-Americans out of the 4 of us, so something's working, I guess.
No doubt about it, and I just think it's really interesting, and kind of. This is another peek behind the curtains. Like, at Dennis Craddock, I had a bunch of my student workers like, why are these guys dropping out of the race? So. Relay for those who maybe are new to the world of track and field. Why is that pacer so important? So, like, it was Frank Sorba, I believe, and maybe your mile, he dropped out midway through. Might have been Tor for that.
Yeah,
it was Tor. So, talk to me about why that is such a valuable asset for you to have on the track.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to lead a race and make sure you're doing the same pace. You got to worry about that. It wasn't very windy, but sometimes the wind plays a factor. So having him go, I think he went 1,300 meters. That's pretty long in there just to hold that steady pace and let us run as fast as we can. That helps a lot. And we also had Frank in the 5K as well drop out with Max as well. They're helping the boys just get as far as they can without doing as less work as possible. You don't want to be working too hard in the middle of the race. You want to be just comfortable, relaxed, knowing the pace is good for you, and it helps a lot. And I appreciate Tor doing that a lot for me, so I had to help him out the next day. And he destroyed the school record. So I think it helps a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but in a lot of ways it's trying to turn your mind off at the beginning of the race. So especially once you get to that last kick and you're trying to you're pushing it forward for the the mile, and Tor's eyeing that 2-minute mark as he's coming down that last straightaway.
Yep.
That's kind of where you really want to kick in and exert that last little bit of energy. So something else I find really interesting for these track and field programs is y'all, the men's side and the women's side, you would almost forget that there's two separate teams just because y'all are that close knit and. Obviously, y'all competed in just about anything, so you would expect that community feel. But tell me about that relationship and the ability that y'all have building them up and then vice versa.
Oh, 100%. I love our women's team. They're always so fun to be around. My girlfriend's on the team. Shout out Sarah, so I got to get on her. When she broke 18 for the first time last week, I was crying her, giving hugs. I was more excited for her than I was for my mile. So it just shows a lot. We care a lot about each other. We're always supporting each other. We do similar training, and our culture is just combined so well. I don't know if it's ever been like this before, and it's clicking on both sides, and it's showing how we can do it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then one of the last things I want to ask you, and I'll get you out of here, but so we've talked about a lot of the distance runners, we've talked about the men's women's relationship, but I mean even the field events. I mean Lynchburg has really solid throw programs. The jumps are there. I mean all conference, all region type of members of both those parts of the track and field program. But that leads me into what I think we can expect to see from ODACs. I'm expecting a strong showing. Again, like you mentioned, we get to host. That's a huge advantage as well. But, kind of run through what the rest of the season looks like for those who maybe don't know and are listening and okay, well, what's next for Sam and the crew? So ODACs a week from now, pretty much. This will be coming out on a Thursday, so pretty much plan on 7 to 8 days from now. We're getting into ODACs, and then, what comes thereafter?
Well, yeah, first things first, this Friday I'm actually going to UVA to run against a pretty stacked field. I'm pretty sure I'm the only Division III guy in the 1500, so that's always exciting. Yeah, and then ODACs, obviously we want to get the win there as a team, and I think if everything goes well, that should happen. I want to get the win in the 1500. I want to get Tor to get the win in the 800. Connor in the steeple. Max in the 5K. Frank in the 10K. So all the distance events we need to win. That would be awesome. And then after that, we have a couple of last chance meets, hopefully, to get some more people into the national meet, which is always the goal. And then after that, we're just going to race our butts off at nationals and try to get some more All-Americans. Maybe a title. We'll see. Maybe an individual title or a team trophy. We'll see.
And I mean, right now, Lynchburg right around the top 10 when it comes to track and field power index. So there's certainly reason to think that. And it's always kind of tough once you get to those national meets. Like I go back to cross country, maybe the team ranking wasn't necessarily something that stands out or jumps off the page, but lots of PRs. So as long as y'all continue to kind of grow, one weekend at a time, essentially, because y'all are pretty much somewhere every Friday and Saturday. Keep getting that progress. I think y'all are right on the right track. So Sam, I appreciate you taking the time to join me today, man.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you.
Appreciate it, and best of luck this upcoming weekend. It's gonna be awesome. Good luck at UVA.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That's gonna do it for this episode of the Hive Podcast. Be sure to come back next week when we have a new episode for you. For Sam Llaneza, my name's CJ Wingert, and we are signing off.